Are you ready to win? Are you tired of winning yet? We haven't even started winning, right? Okay, love you guys too. You know why I love you guys? You're not the summer soldiers and sunshine patriots. You're the hardest core of the hardcore. You're the heart of the movement, right? You were with President Trump in 21 when they stole the 2020 election. He went back to Mar-a-Lago. Who had his back? You guys did, right? We have to, particularly after last night. Last night, I think, was one of the most historic. Were you guys all here in the audience last night? Was that historic? Laura Ingraham, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson. Those were historic speeches. Make sure in your diary, the notes you keep, particularly tell your kids and grandkids, you were in Tampa in 25 when that night, that Friday night, you had three of the greatest patriots in this country come down and lay it down, right? What did Megyn Kelly say? Megyn Kelly at the end said, it's a time for choosing. It's a time for choosing. And we just had, I think all of you just read the president's latest Truth Social? Have you read it? Okay. So here, let's have a partners discussion. We know, or we're told, that there's going to be a special prosecutor sometime named, I don't know, I believe in the next week or two. And that is going to go back to the very beginning of how the deep state tried to stop President Trump all the way to Crossfire Hurricane. Remember that? In the summer of 2016, where they tried to stop him from being president and install Hillary Clinton. And with Hillary Clinton, Merrick Garland as Supreme Court Justice, the country would have been gone. Donald Trump had the greatest come-from-behind victory against a headwind of the deep state trying to stop him. And this is one of the reasons this special prosecutor is going to look into it. After he won, what did they do immediately? The nullification project, the phony Russiagate with Brennan and this entire crowd, just a rollover from what they did in Crossfire Hurricane. It just continued on. Why? They wanted President Trump, they wanted to stop him from taking on the deep state. Now, think about it. He had the economy on a roll, he had everything on a roll, and then the Chinese Communist Party in 2020 dropped a bioweapon from the Wuhan lab, correct? No doubt about that? Then they stole the 2020 election. The special prosecutor, President Trump, take your Truth Social out. Let's deconstruct what President Trump is saying. He says we've got to look into the 2020 election. That is going to be purview of the prosecutor. So you have Crossfire Hurricane before he won. You're going to have the nullification project and the Russian hoax after he won to try to kill his first term. You're then going to have the stealing of the 2020 election. And guess what? Let's throw in January 6th, right? January 6th. Now, I would strongly recommend in that, because I've argued for this from the beginning, that in that arc of looking at how the deep state has tried to stop Trump and the MAGA movement, you can easily fit in the Epstein situation, right? If you want the full release of documents, the special prosecutor gets it, and here's why. Epstein is a key that picks the lock on so many things, not just individuals, but also institutions, intelligence institutions, foreign governments, and who was working with him on our intelligence apparatus and in our government. This is why it's a time for choosing now. We have to decide right now and back the president and say, hey, look, all of your great work, you just heard Tom Homan, you're about to hear Kristi Noem, of closing the border. How did we get 10 or 11 or 12 or 20 million on Biden's watch? That was a plan they had. That wasn't random. That has to be investigated and people held accountable like all these other things. This is why the Justice Department is clearly overwhelmed with what they're working on. The FBI is overwhelmed. We only have 2 guys at the FBI. We have a handful of people at the Justice Department. The special counsel or special prosecutor can take on many projects and add people to it. You have to get to the bottom of how the invasion took place, why we now have to put up $170 billion in the latest bill to do this. We have to have a time for choosing. Here's my recommendation we do. I call them the Tampa Resolves. And it's very simple. Coming out of Tampa, it's like the revolution. They had the Virginia Resolves, and they would make these commitments to themselves before the Declaration of Independence. Number one, it's very simple. The deep state must be destroyed to free the American people. Is there any question about that? Is there any question about that? We have to destroy the deep state, and this is elements of the Pentagon, the Justice Department, the FBI, the CIA, certain elements that work under DNI, those 17 intelligence agencies, also parts of the State Department, the USAIDs of the world. That inner apparatus controls the government, and when President Trump tries to do something, they're always trying to thwart his actions, right? You see the leaks. When Homan's sending these brave men and women into Los Angeles to do these raids, like the raid about the children trafficked to the marijuana farm to work, they're lying in wait for him. They're lying in wait for the agents. They got weapons to shoot. How does the protesters? Because somebody inside leaked it to them. Somebody inside leaks it to the media. That's the deep state every day. It must be destroyed. We're not free. The second resolve is quite simple. You don't give the deep state the consent of the governed. Therefore, it's your responsibility to destroy it. It's a sacred duty and a responsibility of the American people, American citizens. No cavalry is going to come and save you. No foreign country is going to come and save you. No Deus ex machina is going to come down. No fairy dust is going to appear. You have to do it yourself, correct? It's our responsibility. And number three, whoever is not with us is against us, right? If you're not with us, you can't be neutral in this. If you're with us, you're with us. If you're neutral, I don't know, then you're against us. This has to happen. And President Trump, I think you're going to see in what he's identifying these prosecutors, he's going after it. He's going after who set up Crossfire Hurricane. He's going after the Russia hoax. He's going to go after the 2020 election and how it was stolen and who's responsible for it being stolen, right? And I hope he gets to January 6th. You got to get to January 6th. When I was in prison, you had these January 6th people that had just walked by the Capitol. And what were they? They were sitting there in prison for nothing more than supporting the President of the United States. Now, here's why we have to do this. You are the tip of the spear. You helped President Trump, assisted him in winning the 2016 election and come from behind. You won the 2020 election with 11 million more votes than we got in 2016. No president's ever done that. He had 74 million votes, and they still stole it from him. In 24, remember, on that morning, MSNBC and people are laughing at you and mocking you. They thought Kamala Harris up until 7 or 8 o'clock at night, when it was quite obvious that some of the exit polls are correct and President Trump was going to win a sweeping victory. They're all smug as they've always been. They thought they were going to win until the last second when President Trump won a sweeping victory. This is what you've delivered. Your victories backing President Trump are unparalleled, not simply in American history, in all history. So now we have to get down to it. Because President Trump, and I'm a big believer President Trump's going to run again at 28. We'll figure this out, right? Until somebody can prove to me that you can get low propensity voters without him on the ticket, then President Trump's going to get the ticket. President Trump is unique in American history. You've had General Washington, you've had Abraham Lincoln, now you got Donald Trump. The three greatest presidents we ever had. And the reason he may actually be greater, when he went back to Mar-a-Lago, when the Republican Party abandoned him and Fox News abandoned him and the left was coming after him and the deep state was then going to put him in prison, bankrupt him, smear his family, no American in history saw what was in front of him of all the challenges, right? All the challenges of going to prison for 300 years, of being bankrupt, he made a conscious decision to come back. And you know why he did that? Because of you. He knew there were people out there that had his back. This is why we had the greatest victory come from behind victory ever. 24 will be studied in the history books forever. Now, that coalition is built upon people like yourself with this foundational element. Of course, we got the tech bros and other people. That's fine. We'll figure this out as we go. We're building a coalition bigger than FDR's in 1932. That's what we have to continue to build. The only thing that can stop us is ourselves. You know what can stop us? Cynicism. If we don't look into these things and expose these things to the American people, and that you can see the evidence so that you can be comfortable, hey, I fully understand it. If 2% or 3% or 4% become so cynical and say, hey, look, I just don't believe in anything anymore, we're not going to win any more elections. This is so obvious. It's so tight right now, where you're going to win by 10, 20,000 votes. We need to have not just every one of your votes, we need to have you motivated as you've been motivated to knock on doors, to canvass, to get people out to vote. That's what we want in 24. We have to see this through to the end. You know, I'm a fighter, and this fight is the fight before us, because we could do all the tax cuts in the world. We could close the border for a while. We could do all these amazing things, which President Trump is doing. He's absolutely correct. He's on a roll. He's the hottest any president's ever been. We're doing it. However, if we don't get into what really tries to control the country, the deep state, and take it apart. And by the way, if we got rid of, 100,000 or 200,000 billets and people, we'd have control of this. And I mean, cut the FBI by half, cut the CIA by half, cut 3/4 of the State Department, right? Cut the Defense Department by a third. Cut every department and start cutting them in half. Let's go back to the Roman Empire. You ever heard of Kato the Elder? Heard of Kato the Elder? You guys are always the best. You're always a step ahead of me. So Kato the Elder was a very conservative senator in the Roman Republic. And he was looked upon as a wise individual. But he had one obsession, and that was Carthage. He realized the Roman Republic would never be truly free while they had this competitor, Carthage. So whatever was up, whether it was education policy or tax policy or a budget or anything, cleaning up Rome, putting in new sewers, aqueducts, he always finished every speech, and he was the greatest speaker in the Senate. Carthago delenda est. Carthage must be destroyed. Why? He knew if he imprinted that time and time and time again in the Roman Senate, eventually people would come his way and say, you know what? We don't care how many wars it's taken to take on Carthage. It must be destroyed. That's the deep state. Deep state delenda est. It must be destroyed, and it's your responsibility to do it. If we don't have the president's back, you're going to be mocked and ridiculed. Oh, these are conspiracy theories. These are conspiracy theories. Well, you know what? The conspiracy theories that you guys focused on turned out they weren't conspiracy theories. They were conspiracy facts. The coming days and weeks, as these crises converge, after 10 years after President Trump came down the golden escalator, as they converge, trust me, you think it's been tough before, it's going to get very bumpy. On Monday, the situation in Ukraine right now, the NDAA, the Senate, is passing in secret an increase to Ukrainian arms of $500 million a year. I know this audience does not support that, but this is what the pressure is going to be in the Senate, in the House, among the deep state, to get us into war after war after war after war. And forget that the main war is the enemy within and what we've allowed inside our gates. The enemy within must be addressed. And inside these gates, the cities of Los Angeles and Chicago and New York City, with this group of radicals about to win and take over New York City, that's the enemy within. We have 10. Tucker said 61 million. I don't care if it's 10 or 20. They all must be deported. Mass deportations now, amnesty never. If you falter, if you quit, if you say it's too hard, I don't believe anything anymore, we will lose. But if you hunker down and say, I'm with this, as long as it takes, as hard as it is, right? As many sacrifices I have to make, I guarantee you we will be victorious just like we were in 24. Tampa SAS, you're the best. Thank you very much.